on the Inspiring Souls interview series. You're an amazing healer. You're a truth coach. You assist people finding their truth, healing themselves with self love and with ancestral healing. You are incredibly gifted. And I've also had some sessions with you. So I can definitely say that you know what you do and it works. So thank you so much for being here. How are you?
Hi. Thank you so much for inviting me. Thank you for thinking about me. Thank you for allowing me to be here and be a part of your series. And I'm super excited about what you're doing. I feel it fits you to a T. And I'm so glad that you found your way into it and that you're just, stepping out and helping people with this and also following your own destiny and your life path journey. So I'm really excited for you. Yay.
So we've been knowing each other for I feel like 3 years, and it's so funny because I found you over your YouTube channel, and we're both German, and that was actually we kind of at some point lived kind of close in South Germany, so that was really funny. Distance. So let's dive right into it. As a woman living in her soul's purpose and being of service to others through the healing work you offer, how did that all happen? How did you discover your healing abilities?
Oh, that goes back to how I grew up because my grandmother used to interpret dreams for people. And I remember being a little kid and trying to listen in on her, talking to the neighbors and telling them what they were dreaming and what that meant. And I also, I don't know, I'd have dreams and visions. I'd see things literally in waking and walking. Shadows would turn into beings. And so it was very in between worlds, and that closed down as I got older. And it wasn't until I took nursing in Germany and I had my first psychic session with a psychic who worked only on Fridays, who worked in a bank otherwise. And I wish I could find her again. And I remembered her name because she was so accurate and dead on. And I was shocked. And she told me, like, this is what you need to do. You need to develop your mediumship. You're going to be a medium. And at the time, I was like, no, but thanks. And everything she got though about that time of my life was spot on. And yes, 8 years later, after I'd moved to Vancouver, Canada, started doing meditation circles, things started falling into place, and one thing led to another, and here we are today.
Yeah, and it's amazing. Like you inspire many people already, and you've helped many women also. And what always stood out to me when I watched your videos was your fiery Aries energy. And also, I can really feel that you're aligned in your just feminine power. It always gave this healthy feminine glow. So tell us a little bit more. What makes you feel beautiful in your womanhood, in your femininity?
Wow, that is a long journey because I didn't feel beautiful growing up. I was the ugly duckling. My mom always picked on me. She was very exacting. She was an extremely beautiful woman and also narcissistic. So she would, live for the attention in part. But when it came to meet her daughter, she was very critical. So I always had that voice in my head and that look in her eye, that look that moms can give you, like you're not enough. And it just made me feel like so much, so little. And then growing up in Germany in a culture where it was all about tall, thin blondes with
Yeah.
flowing long hair, I was the antithesis of that. And although people told me, you're cute, I wasn't that exotic beauty that made people stop. I was like, I felt like a little dumpling. And it wasn't until I started this whole development, because this whole development is also a self-empowerment, self-growth. And I started accepting certain things about myself and just, letting things rest, healing other parts of me. And then also realizing that as women, we don't really have an archetype of a liberated, free woman, right? We don't know what that looks like, absolute femininity in all its strength, its glory, and its power, right? all our archetypes are somehow an aspect of it. You know, we have the maternal archetype and the matriarch. We also have the archetype of she who comes around the mountain, you know, like Hillary Clinton, right, with blood on her hands, very vengeful Kali type energy. We have all these various little archetypes, but the woman in her full power without any form of interference or any form of negativity or any form of anything, we don't really have that. So I stopped worrying about what it is to be a woman. I stopped worrying about fulfilling these things of having to have long flowing hair. Like I used to have that for years, right? Having to be a certain way, having to be this, having to be that, because to me, all of that was a limitation. It was a concept that was limiting to women, that was putting some kind of a harness on them and harnessing their energy to fulfill a certain ends or to fulfill a certain means. And I thought the best way to go about things was just be me. So some people say I'm a little masculine and other people say I'm super feminine. And I realize, hey, it's all about their filters, you know, and what they perceive. And it's not about if I am feminine or not. You know what I mean? Like it's their filters and what they believe in, you know, and that's what they're going to perceive no matter what I do. So whatever. And I just move forward. That's how I do it now.
You put it
Yeah.
very beautifully that different types of people have a different projection of
Mhm.
you, which is not the real you, but it can, if you don't believe in yourself, it can affect your self esteem to a high
Yes.
degree because those archetypes of women that are portrayed in the media, I mean, now we got a little bit better with body variety, but it's still only a certain type is acceptable and other types are not. And have yet to discover or rediscover what femininity means in its truest form for us. And
Yes.
that is an internal journey that then expresses itself in the outer.
Hmm.
And I liked how you shared that you felt like an ugly duckling and you were putting more focus on yourself instead of looking. It switched from looking to feeling,
Hmm.
and that is what also gives a woman this centered and aligned with her being glow. And
Yeah.
without that, we also can't feel sensual, which is really important because that's when we feel sensual, that's when the feminine energy thrives.
Yes. 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 And I learned a lot, even though I don't throw myself into astrology as much anymore as I used to. But I did learn a lot through astrology and the astrological archetypes, but also the meanings, especially with Vedic astrology. And when they speak about Maya and illusion and how that is all tied into the feminine and how that ties into our earth plane and our earth existence and the physical. And it's really profound what the feminine is able to create, manifest, and do without so much energy as a male going out and making things happen, making things come about. And so there is a strength in femininity and being a woman that is I don't even know how to put this because it's so intangible, but it's very, the more grounded you are, the more in touch with your body you are, the more you just allow and let flow without too much pressure and effort in the mind, the more all of a sudden things just start popping up and manifesting. It just happens. And it's amazing. It really is amazing. I love being a woman. I love it. I love playing with this energy this time around.
It makes so much fun manifesting your desires through you. And
Yeah.
something that you do that helps you feel grounded and centered within? Is there a little self love practice that you do that helps you
Mhm.
to feel aligned and sensual?
I just, body movements are incredibly important. I like to work out. I like to move my body. And that helps me get in touch with my body and not overthink things. So it's not like, where you're sitting there and you're meditating and you're trying hard to reach that space within yourself. And when I'm just moving my body, just running or doing workouts, I just feel good. I just feel good. The energy moves and feels good. But I have been thinking of taking up dancing like you do, because your belly dancing is amazing. It is so beautiful. And it's such a feminine, way to move about things and to move the energy. So I really think that's beautiful. And you've inspired me in that. So I do want to
Oh,
try that.
thank you. Actually,
Yeah.
belly dance is amazing, only on also on a deeper level for unlocking trauma that we can store in our pelvis and the womb area.
Yeah.
So, with our sacral chakra, where the feminine energy lives, where her mansion, so to say, is, that can sometimes
Uh-huh.
be blocked. So, whatever
Wow.
movement one feels drawn to is the right one in that moment. But in general,
Uh-huh.
all movements with the hips and everything that gets the circulation going there is just amazing.
Amazing. Yeah. I can imagine. I can only imagine. And the result is so beautiful. It is. But otherwise, I like to take care of myself. I don't know. Maybe it's that, Taurus that I have also in my chart that is, triggered, activated. But I like taking care of my body. I like taking care of myself. So yes, the workouts, but also regular spa visits, massages.
Mhm.
Like these are all things that contribute to me feeling good about myself.
Mhm.
And yeah, that's basically it for me.
And then it really shows from head to toe when you allow yourself that, because speaking from own experience too, it's very hard when you grow up with a lot of negative
Mm,
talk around you and energy to allow yourself to enjoy the slowing, the things that make you feel beautiful, and also slow down the masculine driven energy that is still going on for
yes.
society.
Yeah.
So, especially spas, like, I can't wait until they open here in Germany again, because
Yeah, yeah. They're open here. So it's good to go, but only certain types, like steam rooms and saunas, which I also enjoy, they're not open. But massages are open, so that's good. Facials are open. Then doing all that, and I think that's really important to take care of yourself, and it goes deeper than just maintaining yourself. It's really literally taking care of you. And especially if you're coming from a traumatic background where nobody really took care of you were kind of like just dragged along. Nobody really took care of what you needed to grow, to thrive, to certain
Mhm.
more than to survive. It's really important that as an adult you do that for yourself, that you accept yourself, that you love yourself, that you honor yourself, and you honor the space that you hold in life. And it's I just feel it's super, more people need to have the time to do that.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely. Um, if there was one advice you could give your 20-year-old self now, when you look back, what would it be?
Oh, it's all going to be okay. You're stronger than you think you are, and you're going to make it. And that my 20-year-old self, there was so much going on when I was 20, and it was like crunch time in my life. And so I would definitely let her know she's strong, she can do it, she's amazing, she is loved, and she's beautiful. I'd let her know that. Absolutely. Chin up. And I let my daughter know that now. So there's a little bit of, with that, because my daughter is now 20. So that's exactly, like, thinking about it. These are the messages that I'm telling her, that I'm passing on to her. Interesting. See, you made me realize something there.
Actually, I wanted to ask you, what advice would you give yourself 20 years ago? But for some reason, it came out as 20 years old.
Yeah, but pretty much the same thing because I had deep insecurities up until my 30s, and when I was finally able to push through them. And a big thing that helped me as well in dealing with those insecurities wasn't just learning about healing work, healing myself, and diving into all of that, but literally realizing that you need to be somewhere where you can thrive and not just survive, you know. And so many people are afraid to change locations or to try somewhere else or to put themselves in a pot where they can actually bloom because they're afraid of the change, but they're also afraid to bloom. And I wasn't afraid to bloom. And I was just needing to understand that in certain environments, they just weren't for me. And so the environment that I'd grown up in, even though it wasn't like, I don't even know how to put this, it was difficult, yeah, challenging, yeah, because of all the dynamics going on within the family, but it wasn't an evil place. But growing up in a small town in Germany is not really the place that I could, you know. Whoa. So when I moved to Canada, it was like, wow, look at all this. Look at everything I can do here, and look at everything I can be, and look at all these people, and look at all this. Like, it was all of a sudden, all these limits were taken away. And I think it's really important that you recognize, like, it's not just you. So if you're hard on yourself and you think, oh, I'm at fault, I'm not good enough, I'm not this, I'm not that, maybe you just need to shift your environment in order to shift your perspective a little bit and get to know a different aspect of yourself. You know, we're all multifaceted beings. So just try it. And if it doesn't work out, you can always go home. You can always, go back to wherever you feel safe, right? So, but yeah, that's where I really, that's what really helped me as well. Step into more of myself was that move. Mhm. Even though, like I said, Germany wasn't bad to me at all. I can't say it was. But small towns everywhere, I think, are just limiting for everybody in one way, shape, or form. Yeah. So,
It's
yeah.
like, I don't know if you've heard about it, the example with the shark, that if you put a shark in a tank, it won't outgrow the tank, it will stay small. But if you put it in the ocean, it will grow to its full size.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. And I think as women, we need to not be afraid of that ocean of life anymore,
Yeah.
because a lot of us stay. Traditions are important, and traditionally women carry on traditions and pass on traditions, but traditions need to stay alive, and alive means movement. Movement means change. So we can't be afraid to change certain aspects of our traditions that we pass on, retain what is beautiful, of course, and what is, but we can't also be afraid of life, because some of us, and I'm saying this because that was part of my story as well, was that I was kind of hiding in my relationship, hiding behind becoming a mother when I was, so it was like he had to go out and do everything in the world, and that put him a lot of pressure on him, of course.
Mhm.
But I was like, I'm staying at home with my child, which of course everyone prerogative, but the what I'm trying to say is the actual intention behind that was to protect myself, right?
Mhm.
And that's the truth of it. And I think a lot of us do that in certain ways, right? So we have to stop being afraid and step out there, like become that shark in the ocean, and not be afraid of what we're going to turn into or what feminine archetype is going to pop up. And if we fulfill expectations of whomever, it's we need to expand, we need to grow, we need to move on, we need to discover ourselves, and we need to discover what femininity is, besides being a mother figure, besides being the perfect wife,
Mhm.
partner. What else is there to femininity, right? So yeah.
Yes, that's a good phrase for today. Because don't be afraid of the ocean, the shark.
Yeah. Yeah. But I love what you're doing. And I feel like fertility is such a topic for women as well, because we are literally, like, as you know, in Hinduism, they believe we are Lakshmi. The female in the family is a representation of Lakshmi, a representation of abundance and fertility, right? So it's when we're abundant, we're not just abundant and fertile, but it's everything in this whole physical reality of attracting finances, resources, homes,
Mhm.
everything, children, you know, like this is all the realm that we have dominion over, if you want to call it that. So I love what you're doing, and it really is diving into empowering through a different way instead of the rah rah. You can do it. It's a very feminine way of going about things as well. So it's beautiful.
It's so important because, as you beautifully said, you can't be fertile in one aspect of your life and poor or infertile in others. If you,
Yeah,
it all belongs together. It's all part of a bigger pie, and like most of the times when there are issues with infertility, it's not only linked sometimes to health or eating the wrong thing or drinking the wrong thing. It has more to do with a mindset, traumas,
mhm.
limitations, past fear, blockages, expectations. If you carry too many expectations as a woman, that can dim your light down and can lead to
Yes,
a soul burnout and a body burnout. And
yeah,
that's why it's so important to activate this feminine
yeah,
energy because it's powerful, it's fertile, it's abundant, and every woman has it,
yeah.
whether she is in menopause or didn't hasn't had her period yet. We got it within.
Hmm. Absolutely. And like you said, like we tend to, because we are feminine, and we tend to look to the past. We tend to look behind us, right? And that can lead to a lot of resentment and bitterness, which leads to blocked energy. And it's a thing. It really is a thing that I work with too, with people a lot. So yeah, do whatever you can to keep that energy flowing and not to get stuck in looking into the past. It's just, yeah, moving forward,
Yes,
moving forward.
there's so much growth in the present and in the future, then, so to say.
Mhm.
And that is, I'm just every time amazed by it when I think of it, that we literally have a whole universe within us that helps us create. And
Yes.
it's just amazing. And I can't wait that more women remember this power that we have
Yeah.
and that Catholic Church and
Yeah.
other religions try to take from us. And
Yeah.
it's just amazing that it's slowly but surely coming back.
Yeah. And what I really found important was initiations.
Mm-hmm.
I really think that we need to have puberty initiations again. And people will be like, oh my God, please. But I really think it's important. In shamanism, they believe that men are initiated through the encounter with death. So they have to go out and hunt something and kill it for the community, or they encounter death through inner travels. But women are initiated through the encounter with life.
Mm-hmm.
And so they have to, like in Navajo puberty ceremonies, a girl has to pray for her community. So every day because running is a prayer, she has to run in the four directions. This initiation goes over a week.
Mm-hmm.
And each day she runs in a different directions, north, south, east, west, and prays for the community by running as far as she can. Then she has to bake a bread for the community in the traditional way. So it's in the earth. She has to dig the hole, place the coals, make the bread, and it has to be enough to feed everybody. Meanwhile, while she's making the bread, everybody else is making sheep and all the meat to go with it. Then she also gets a massage where everything, her childhood is massaged out of her body, and room is made for her new life. And she's given a name, which also gives her a role in the community, right? So after that initiation, her parents are not supposed to treat her as a child anymore, but as a growing adult. But she has time, right? Because these are done when she's around 13, 14. So she has time until she's in her early 20s to learn what it means to be a responsible female adult in the community, right? And she has a name that gives her a purpose. And I find in our society, everybody's kind of all over the place. And based on our various traumas, we attach labels to ourselves of what we feel we need to be, what we feel we're lacking. And we don't really have that sense of purpose. It's kind of like it means something to me today, but tomorrow I'll find something else. And so there's no consistency, you know, and this, without consistency, there's no strength. There's no buildup. There's no follow through. And so I really find that initiatory rites would be phenomenal to reintroduce to society, to have those weeks of just women taking care of women, women welcoming women into the world as a woman, and really making people feel in their entirety like they are valued and a part of life and needed, you know, with what they have to contribute and what they have to give. Yeah.
That would be amazing if that would be more honored in society. And I think, especially the hitting puberty point is so important for a young girl because now in our society, it's like, you're menstruating, you become a woman, you could get pregnant if you have sex. There's like a lot of negative
Yeah.
things. Shit. And be careful that you don't bleed. Always be prepared. Always have like pads and everything and tampons in your pocket. Um,
It's,
but it's
it's not empowering. It's an embarrassment. And it's like, oh my gosh, and I don't feel good and I have to go to school and I have cramps. And just because you honor your body doesn't mean that you're less than, you know. If I have a headache, I'm not going to push myself further. If I have cramps, why should I push myself further? It just makes no sense, right? So while it can be something absolutely normal, you know, it doesn't mean that we can ignore it and go a masculine way and just keep pushing. I really find that strange that we've developed in that direction, because that's a way of denigrating the female as well. So it doesn't have to be something that's disempowering or weakening just because you say, oh, I have cramps. It's something completely normal. Okay, stay at home, whatever, right? Moving on. It's what's one day or two, you know, but at the same time, you're honoring yourself. You're not being weakened. And I just think that would be a better way of going about it. But we have to be complicated, I guess. I don't know.
I've been just talking about that topic with like a friend of mine, and she also said it's so funny because if men would bleed, they would lay down. They would be, the first
Yes.
one
Yeah. Yeah.
to lay down. But we as women, we're supposed to be superheroes and act like we can do like the women
Mhm.
in the tampon marketing spots on TV. Like, no, no, we're
No.
we don't have to be superwoman. We don't have to be a hero. It is also an heroic act of self love to honor your body and giving it the rest it needs.
It needs. Exactly. Exactly. And it's also a detoxification process when you have your monthly. And that's the thing, is that, as you know, we also exist on spiritual levels, right? And so, what the Hindus also believe, which I find interesting, is that the female, through her monthly, detoxifies for the family, for the husband as well, right? So, when he deposits his energy with her, that he can't detox himself, she's the one that gets rid of it through this monthly flow. And so, it's very important that she's taken care of during that time. And I think that's beautiful, you know, that's beautiful. Of course, culturally it's a different topic about which levels of society actually honor that. But there is that belief system. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
also for families and in the marriage or relationship, it's important for the woman to be happy because everyone knows if the woman is not happy, nobody is happy.
He's happy. Yeah.
It, we like every one of us knows if the mother is happy, it's good, it's really good. But I guess every woman knows if my mother is in a bad mood, if she's unhappy, you better run because that's also
Yes.
an aspect of femininity, allowing to express frustration and anger. And if you don't take care of yourself, it explodes and then it gets toxic.
Yeah. Yeah. For everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone. Yeah. I mean, cancer is a thing, right? And it's depending on which body part it is, it's telling a story. It's telling what happened to get to that point, right? And usually, breast cancer has to do with overnourishing, overstepping boundaries, your own personal boundaries, extending more than what you wanted to give, right? Babying partners that you shouldn't. feeling resentful around having to nourish someone that is actually grown. So you can see all this, like how it turns out in the body as well of women. It's, yeah, not a good thing. See, that's the expanding archetype, right? The expansion of what is a woman allowed to be. What is, and scratch the allowed, what is a woman? What is femininity? And it's everything. It's anger, it's rage, it's frustration, it's beauty, it's joy, it's happiness, it's all these things, and not just a limited range of something. It's all of it. Yeah.
The whole perspective of life with all its aspects, the dark,
Yeah.
the light, the night, the day, the
Yeah.
storms, the shiny weather.
Yeah. Otherwise, it just, like you said, it just turns toxic. It really does. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think we also have to look closer at our role in toxic flows of life, toxicity in relationships and raising children. And there's been a lot of focus on toxic masculinity. But I do think that we need to start also focusing on toxic femininity and what that, where that comes from and what that leads to and what it looks like. And it's not enough of a topic yet. It's beginning, but it's not at the level of toxic masculinity yet. So,
I've
but
noticed it too. A lot of men get, so to say, fuckboy shamed or toxicity shamed because this decisions they make based upon their past, which is understandable. Like if you think about it, what they've been through, but
mhm.
it never gets blamed at what part the woman plays in. And if it then someone points it out, it's like, oh, how dare of you to put it on a woman, like when it was his fault.
Yes.
The love being put on a man when it's always like, I mean, it takes two. It really takes
Yeah.
two.
Yeah. Yeah. And with great freedom and power comes responsibility, right? So if we don't want to be responsible for things, then how powerful are we really going to be? So it's really important that to fully step into our power, we have to take on responsibility for certain things. But one step at a time.
Exactly.
And in the meantime, we'll balance out the energies and just, move our bodies, belly dance. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So what brought you into this, into working with fertility? That would be interesting to me.
um as you know, I've always had this feeling in me, I want to be a mother one day, and I always had in my head, I want a lot of children. That was always in the back of my mind. And growing up, I had to deal with a lot of fears in regards of pregnancy and womanhood that were passed on from, you know, generations, because all of the women in my family went through a difficult birth. And in order for me, I just wanted to feel good as a woman. So I started belly dancing. Then I noticed, hey, I want to feel good about pregnancy and birth because I want to birth children one day and I can't be afraid of that. So I
Yeah.
became a doula. And then because in Germany, you can't be a doula if you don't have children yet, which I think is a little bit stupid because you don't have to be a doctor. Like you don't have to have cancer to be a doctor to treat cancer.
Doctor.
So
Yes,
that
exactly.
makes no sense to me. So and also while the studies, I realized that I was more interested in the beginning aspects of pregnancy and fertility. And I found
Uh-huh.
out that it's a big issue in society, and a lot of women go crazy because they can't get pregnant, they don't know why. Apparently all is good, and it's just like there's so much that you can do as a woman. And I've noticed in my belly dance and pelvic floor classes that I taught in university, after
Yeah.
the classes, the women would come to me and asking questions about women's health, but also a lot of them about, hey, I want to get pregnant, will belly dance help me? I've heard about it. And I would always say, yeah, just come regularly and maybe try this, try that, try this. I
Yeah.
always had like a good sense for it, and it worked. They got pregnant. And
Awesome.
that's how I got step by step being led into what I do now.
Beautiful. I love the natural flow, like you just found your way, just followed your intuitive guidance. A very feminine way about going about things as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've noticed if you go, that's the only good way to go, because if you go against your intuition and if you do what everybody else does, you just end up being unhappy and it's not working.
Yes. Yeah.
It feels like you're running against a wall, looking for a door, but there is no door. You're just running against a wall.
Yeah. Oh, you make me miss Germany. Like I rarely miss it, but you make me miss it talking to you. It just like, yeah,
And it's so
it's
funny.
beautiful. It connects the energy.
This year, I really started to appreciate Germany because I always wanted to go to the States. Like that was always my thing.
Yeah.
I always wanted to go away, away, more space, something bigger. Like you with the, I felt like it was, I need to expand, so to say.
Yeah.
But with the lockdown and everything, I was traveling more within Germany. And this year, it was really being highlighted to me how beautiful Germany actually is,
Yes.
especially with nature. We have a lot of powerful places here that hold
Yes. Yes. Wow.
energy, incredible powerful. So yeah, I fell in love with Germany again. I can't believe saying that.
Beautiful, beautiful. I think that's a strong part of, because that's another thing I learned with the Navajo was that the women own the land. The women have to have a connection to the land they're in to be strong, powerful, abundant, and in the flow. And if they don't feel safe, if they don't feel connected, it's going to be difficult, whatever they do.
Mhm.
It's a beautiful society there. Like it's matriarchal, so that means they own traditionally. Of course, what's lived in modern times is completely different, but traditionally they're a matriarchal society. So the women own the land, they own the houses on the land, and the men would move. So when they got married, the man would leave his family and move in with his wife, who would get a house and a piece of land on the greater land. So what was happening when the kids grew up was that they could run far, like kilometers, and the only people they would encounter around them were family, aunts, grandmothers, female relatives of the matriarchal family. So everywhere they went, far and wide, they were at home. And it was a beautiful structure to their society. But yeah, here we are nowadays. But yeah.
But how is it for you in Mexico? Do you like, do you still love it as much as when you moved?
Yeah, yeah. Mexico's a beautiful country. It's very spiritual. There are a lot of portals here. It's very in between worlds. And so I had to be careful with certain spiritual workings here and stuff like that, because where you put a lot of effort into getting into these spaces in northern countries because of the collective consciousness there. Here you're instantly there. So it's like a lot of things leave a heavier impression than you realize. So I had to learn to be more, it's very subtle and you don't have to do much. So you learn to do subtle things. And so it's, yeah, it's great. I love it. I love it.
You really grew up moving to Mexico. I still remember when you were still living in Canada, and you
Yeah.
gotta move. I gotta go where it's more sunny.
Yes. Yeah. I wasn't in Canada's a beautiful country too. Like I love it. And but it just has a different feel. It's very of course it's a colder north, so the land is colder. But where I was living was also Nova Scotia is one of the creepiest shores along the Atlantic. So there are a lot of shipwrecks there, dark, cold water, black rocks in the water, which caused the shipwreck. They were invisible. So there's a lot of things there energetically that were dark, right? So, and here it's all sunshine. So you have the darkness as well, but there's a very strong um, light power too. So you really feel that strongly. And I don't know, I just vibe more with here. But I do like those northern countries. I do like that slower, more melancholy almost vibe, a pensive vibe, a reflective vibe. But here it's about life, celebrating life, bright colors, bright sun, bright everything. And it's beautiful. Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, you just glow every.
Thank you. Yeah. Yep, yep. Yeah. So I don't know.
Thank you so much, Karleen, for all the wisdom you shared and all the nudges of insight about what you know about femininity and history also of different cultures. That was extremely insightful, and I also learned a lot of new things today. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks again for having me on. And I'm wishing you all the best.
Same. Nothing but blessings and happiness and love to you.
Thank you.
All right, then have a great day and see you on another episode